is a microtubule-associated protein. So it's part of the scaffolding of neurons, all right? Neurons have like a scaffolding inside that keeps everything in place, and this scaffolding is also used to communicate. So it's a true way to which molecules attach themselves to it, and they go from place to place within the cell. You can think about it like the old, tube mail systems. They connect different offices. Those tubes essentially is the scaffolding of neurons. Neurons are very big. Think about, motor neuron gets all the way down, to the spinal cord, all right? So it can be, a yard long, all right? So there is a lot of communications can happen. So tau is really involved in that process. In certain conditions called tauopathies, disease of tau, or tau-related diseases, of which Alzheimer's disease is one, okay? There is something wrong with this tau, and no one knows exactly what happens to it. But the bottom line is that instead of staying put where it should be, gets into places where it shouldn't be, and so it creates a disorder within the neuron, and so things don't work as well as before because there is this new factor in there that doesn't belong, right? Or belongs there but is present in a configuration which is not really helpful. And so that's what we tried to examine in this paper. So there is evidence that people who have tauopathies, so alteration of tau, including Alzheimer, they also have problems with the blood vessels. And so we wondered whether tau could have a direct impact on the blood vessel of the brain. So using models, we found that tau does indeed have an impact, unlike A beta or hypertension that we just talked about before, in which the vessels essentially falls apart functionally. Okay, cannot do anything that the vessel normally does. All right. In tau, the vessel loses the ability to respond to neurons only. All right. All the things that affect blood vessels of the brain, they seem to be working fine. All right. But with neurons, so the vessels essentially do not listen to neurons. Okay, they listen to the endothelial cells, they listen to other factors that can regulate blood flow and so on, but they do not listen to neurons, which is a big problem. Why is that a problem? Because one of the reasons why vessels and neurons talk to each other is because when neurons are active, they use more energy. And so they need more blood. And so when you interrupt this conversation, then you're going to have a problem because the neurons are asking for more blood and the vessel is not delivering it. So there is a mismatch of what the brain wants, what the neurons want, and what the vessels are able to give. And then we went on and looking at it in a more kind of molecular way. What we discovered was that tau gets into a place at the level of the postsynaptic density, which is when synapses are a connection between two different neurons. So there is a presynaptic end where the information comes, and then there is postsynaptic end where the information is received by the neurons that is connected. So in this receiving end, postsynaptic, tau nestles itself in between the receptor that regulates the NMDA receptor that regulates the talking between the neurons, all right, and nitric oxide synthase, which is an enzyme that makes nitric oxide that is important for coupling neural activity to blood flow, all right? So by putting itself in between prevents nNOS from listening to the NMDA receptor, all right? And so you have this problem. Now, this may go beyond the blood flow because tau, by sticking to this region of the neuron, prevents the neurons also from activating other pathways in addition to nNOS, to the neuronal nitric oxide synthase. So this may be a new mechanism whereby tau, very, very early on, before the neurons die, and before there is an overt evidence of dysfunction, you may already see some of these. Again, this could be an early manifestation, but also could be another pathogenic mechanism. Maybe downstream of this blockage, there is also other signaling pathways, which are very important to keep neuronal health, in addition to nitric oxide and the blood flow piece, all right? So that's what now we're looking into, what else is going on.